Hello, hello! This is Strange Ways, Captain speaking. And now, I'm in Bodo, or Bodo, northern Norway. And today I want to give answer to a question from my patron Ilya. How do I get to know the local people? And if I have any tips? I have my understanding of what do I mean by get to know people. I want to know what drives them. I want to know what makes them tick. I learn about their values. I learn about their goals. I learn about their strategies. So you get to know your context. This will save you a lot of time in actually getting to know the real people. First of all, what I'm really curious about always is the culture. The set of social processes, artifacts, beliefs that people share. Read a little bit about the economics. Why Norway is the way it is because people engage in specific kind of activities. Farming fish, farming reindeer, working in oil industry. All this is very important to understand the people. I usually try to do it way before I go into the country, but this time I was lazy probably, and not only lazy, but I was trying to settle in the rhythm of the trip itself. So I didn't put too much effort to learn about the country in advance. I knew a little bit, and that was, yeah, I missed out. I missed out a lot of interactions because I just didn't know the context. So yeah, don't to make my mistakes. Learn about the country. Yeah, you can watch travel bloggers. I don't get much use of them. Very rarely. I get much more use of history and economics. So you know about the country a little bit. Maybe you also even learn some language. Now what? So you are in the country. How do you get to know the local people? You have to meet them somewhere, right? And depending on the culture, it can be a challenge. Like here in Norway, holy moly, it's it's not easy, I will tell you, it's not easy. In the Middle East, it's a piece of cake, for instance. Yeah, you will see, I will compare a lot of things with the Middle East, my favorite region. So how do I fare in Norway? I learned to fare very well with the help of one single tool. My favorite thing in the whole world while I'm traveling. I cannot recommend it more. Folks, it's couch surfing. Concept is simple. It allows people to host other people at their homes. As a traveler, it gives you just so much. First of all, it's local people, usually, in their own houses. They open their doors to you. They welcome you. And they are open people, so imagine what it takes to open and keep opening your doors to strangers. It takes a lot of openness, it takes a lot of stuff. So these are a specific kind of people, and they're amazing. Usually they have a lot of stories, they have understanding of their own culture because they had the opportunity to compare it to other cultures because they have hosted so many people. They have many experiences. They have since they are very open and social. Usually they have connections to local people in their communities, and this is just, I cannot stress how valuable it is to you as a person who wants to get to know the local people. They are the key. They themselves are sometimes usually particular people, right? Couchsurfing hosts have a lot in common in different countries. They are a special kind of people. Yeah, they do give you a lot of interesting information about the culture, but you need to get to know the people who are more regular to the culture. If it's not a couchsurfing culture, like here in Norway, yes, you need the people who host you to give you the access to the people who would not host you. I have a couple of good examples of people who host me on couchsurfing being this key, this gateway to local culture. Just now, I have left Bodo a couple of hours ago, where I spent several days. An amazing person hosted me, Irida from Lithuania, and I actually stayed longer because she invited me to the party It was organized by a person who just recently moved to Bodo and is trying to energize this town. And I ended up on this party. It was a party. Wow, the format was really unique. It was in a sauna venue, and it was an ecstatic dance party, which is, the sauna is usual to Norwegians, but ecstatic dance is something they don't do. I enjoyed talking to people so much during the party, understanding the motivations of the organizers, how they feel that this town really needs to come alive, how they want the community to be more socialized, more connected, how they try to advance their values of interconnectedness, of social support, of mindfulness, of appreciating art, of appreciating music, of having shared experiences through this kind of events. That was amazing. Not only couchsurfing, of course, chance encounters. Try not using your Google Maps in cities and go ask people. That's a good way of meeting them, at least. I have a story of meeting a person in Shiraz in Iran. Then after a month spending time at their house in absolutely different city, and now the person lives in Sweden, and I will come and visit them after Norway. It was a chance encounter. I was just sitting in a cafe, and I was sitting at the table for four people. I was waiting for one friend, and there were two guys just walking by, and they were looking for a place to sit. They couldn't find because it was fully packed. So I said, okay, folks, you can just sit here. And they did. We talked. Now I know Hamid, an amazing person, helped me so much in Bandaralenge. Just like that. I don't think it will happen in Norway, honestly, with locals, but you always have couchsurfing. Just start using it. This is how you meet the local people. And then comes the tricky part. to get to know a person. What does it mean to you to get to know a person? To me, it means get to know their values. What is important to them? And sometimes you can just ask. Thing is, you have this benefit of a traveler. Basically, they kind of treat you as an idiot, and they don't judge you as they would have judged a local person for asking a bad question, like a question that you wouldn't ask. For instance, you don't ask Suomi people, the local people here who are reindeer farmers, how big is their herd. You don't ask this. This is their fortune. If the local person asks this question of a Suomi person, that would be bad. That would be really bad. Super rude. If I do this one time, they will say, oh, it's a tourist. Let us explain to him. That's your superpower as a traveler. People are very forgiving to you. So ask a question, ask questions. What is important to them? You can ask, I try not to be super personal right from the bat. This is really, holy shit, let me just enjoy it for a little bit. So I ask about values, all sorts of questions. Yeah, usually I don't start a conversation by asking, what are your values? For some reason, to me, it already comes naturally. I'm just really curious about people, and I have a friend, his name is Ola. She's probably the best conversationist I have ever seen. How she leads and maintains a conversation is just a work of art. So I'm not even close to her, but I'm trying to really empathize with the person and try to really walk in their shoes. It helps me that I'm not politically charged or really radically charged in any way. I can relate and empathize with almost anyone. At least I haven't had any troubles so far. That helps. Be really open and non-judgmental. What I noticed that the more relaxed I feel, the less pressure I feel to bring my best side in front, and the more I show my goofy side and just be myself, the sooner it helps the person to become really, really their authentic selves themselves. The second thing is that I don't really have any expectations of people, don't want anything from them. This is actually quite hard to me, especially recently, since my goals are to collect as much information as possible. So I'm struggling a little bit to maintain this no expectations mindset, but still get the most out of the encounters that I have with people. It's really hard, but it really helps. I really feel that the fewer expectations I have, the better it goes. It's just really, you start noticing that your mindset really affects how people approach you and treat you, and you notice it from the first seconds. So just for me to keep the mindset of going with the flow, few expectations, be open-minded, super empathetic, walk in their shoes, share your personal experience, be very open and very candid. It really helps me to connect. And another question from my patron Ilya. How do you stop looking for an excitement of a new thing and commit to something really deep? Actually, Ilya, I have to disappoint you a little bit. You didn't reach any conclusion then. I have my own thoughts, and I'm sure you will relate to them because you also participated in the process. I of course mean the challenge that we had. Ilya and we had a challenge to get to sub 10% body fat in half a year. We started with 23, around 23. It was a fun challenge. I can tell you guys the story if you want. Let me know if you want me to tell it. But the point is that this was hard. It was hard as hell, and I loved it. I loved almost every minute of it. First of all, of course, you and we publicly committed to the goal. For me, it was pretty much enough. I didn't need anything else. Just the fact that I would lose credibility in your eyes, in eyes of my friends, that really helped me stay on goal. The second, of course, is that it was really, really relevant goal to me personally, and I really wanted to prove that I can achieve it. I think both the commitment to my internal sense of achievement and mastery over my body, and the understanding that I can figure out how to do it, and the commitment to my friends, those were the key. And the punishment that we figured out was just a cherry on top. So goals. This is what I think now. This is what is my answer to your question right now. Get the relevant goal. And the real question is how to make sure the goal stays relevant. And this comes down to your values. And I would be super happy to discuss it in more detail, but just let me know. And the question from my patron Veronica about the same conversation where I mentioned that social aspects of motivation are often overlooked. And this is true. Yes, and what I meant by this is that for the goal to be really relevant for us, it has to boil down to our values. And we are social beings, and there is a lot of social stuff in our values. What is really important to realize is that for us, most of us are really motivated by bringing value to the community, by bringing value to people who we relate to. The commitment to those people makes things more relevant. And a lot of the times when I see people struggling with motivation in my coaching practice, in my mentorship practice, my professional activities, it's very often, I can stress this enough, it's so often that the goals they are setting for themselves are really only about themselves. As soon as you change the goal or tweak the goal or highlight the social aspects of the goal so that it is clear how exactly does it bring the value to the community or to a relevant person in a person's life, things change. People do stay on these goals much better, and they do enjoy achieving them much more, especially in Western society, especially in individualistic society. What do you want? This is the question. This is the question I ask very often. But the follow-up that I ask is always, how does it bring value to people you relate to? Of course, another social aspect is reputation and prestige. In many communities it's very important. In many cultures it's very important. not in every culture. But you can really use this aspect of motivation to motivate yourself. It is, if it's one of your values, it's definitely one of my values. So some people are very much motivated by this. And there is a very interesting side note to this. There is a very subtle difference, but very important difference between two things that we talk about a lot. It's performance and success. Where performance is about you and success is about how the society, the community you are part of, how they evaluate your performance and appreciate your performance. So success is very much related to social aspect of motivation. Folks, Veronica, Ilya, I cannot thank you enough. It's been an absolute pleasure answering your questions. I really think that it makes my experience right now an absolute blast. Enjoying this road, enjoying the sun, enjoying the nature here, enjoying thinking about the important things. And wow, I really appreciate you guys. Keep those questions coming. I really hope that my answers are also on par with the questions and I managed to keep you engaged and maybe even learn something. Really hope that's true. And folks, I remind you that you too can ask me any question you would like to by supporting me on Patreon. I'm looking forward to answering your questions.